Hi, I'm DJ Notsoever, and this is another article for the 3/4 or more series. It's a bold thing to do, to open your debut EP with a track resembling a victorious playoff from a concert you've just nailed. Dance the Story kicks off this eponymous recording from Manchester's modern jazz machine Glowrogues by taking us window shopping down a street built in testament to all things groovy. Wah guitar speaks in slick, barely strummed chords with a precisely tuned wash that only interrupts the clap with me pulse to interject that echoing string talk we heard so regularly in the 70s. The sampled finger clicks make it easy to hear this opening track as an intimate sultry moment as the stripped back horn section creeps in, but there's another angle to this picture. Dance the Story is in fact an arrangement best imagined in a larger venue, having already been won over by the band on stage. With no hesitation in their intentions, Glowrogues set up this vibe with a whole meze of uplifting tropes, including the R&B session habit of hiding the most coveted beat one, and a crafted song narrative that returns to its own intro to welcome hollers, hand claps, and a sing-along chorus for our benefit. Melodies this infectious are hard to resist in that moment. This is a jazz band who wants you as their audience. Glowrogues want us there. Changing from the mist of a shimmering chord, the 7-piece signal to guitarist Dan Brew to set up a keyboardish riff that balances a damn infectious melody with a tongue-twisting rhythm. Orchestrated shifts in rhythm like in this piece, The All Night Lights, are a regular occurrence in Glowrogues compositions, and are worth mentioning not least because of how great they feel, but because the group was founded by Jim Molyneux, the band's drummer. Acknowledging the cross-border power of feel-good rhythms, The All Night Lights hears the guitarist's fast pace joined by an unrelenting pulse of rim shots that are as much Weather Report's Birdland as they are up-tempo Motown. With the sweet release of an anthemic chorus on the cards, anticipation continues to boil away as the three horns add themselves to the majority of the rhythm section. We arrive at a chorus that takes shape as a declarative in the mouths of the horns and again holds a catchy melodic sensibility, so simple that even I can sing along through the drum's punctuations. Accompanied by an elated victory lap halftime feel, this chorus reiterates Glowrogues' affection towards sampled percussion and offers an olive branch to any of us listeners who prefer to dance rather than picking apart the undercurrent of mathematic prowess. Their ability to drop instinctively enjoyable grooves in our laps while keeping us naive to the DNA of said funk earns Glowrogues huge praise through this EP. Since the jazz-funk experiments of the 70s, we've all seen bands tumble while trying to strike this worthwhile balance. Successful attempts have drawn mainstream appreciation in the last handful of years, perhaps most notably when American group Snarky Puppy rose to Grammy-winning status with their own brand of switched-on grooves for brain and booty. With the spotlight of large ensemble dance floor jazz so fixed on the States, it's been easy to assume that those qualities are developed overseas in isolation and are the sole source of inspiration for those of us in the UK. A breathy trumpet proves otherwise in the first solo section of Glowrogues' EP, and does so with a flight of jazz vocabulary in a fog of dub effects, echoing the notions of the UK's Submotion Orchestra during their expressions of live electronic music. Weaving behind the beat rather than directly on it, Aaron Diaz's trumpet and FX manipulations flutter with a subtle nod to the alien repitchings of Randy Brecker and John Hassel before arrangement takes the reins and we almost immediately cross the finish line with a unison horn chorus. Indulging in a moment more undeniably American than the former half of this record, N.T.P. wastes no time in acknowledging sample culture. From the get-go, Ben Watt's fingers trickle loosely onto hip chords that could easily have been lifted from a record that somebody paid far too much pocket money for. The sentiment of writing music that acknowledges the nuance of hip-hop's sampling tradition is reiterated over the Fender Rhodes as the trumpet stutters through a mute, thinned out at the recording desk, exactly as we'd expect from the collage work of a beat-making heavyweight. Hip-hop and bass weight, are difficult to separate from one another, so it's a moment of pleasurable grimace to hear muted guitar and bass pushing the speaker cones as they enter with the drums and begin wading forward with a disjointed yet hyper-specific choreography. I dig the attention to detail that goes into locking in outside of centre. The vogue of articulating the wonky results of hip-hop producers laying one record's drums on top of another record's bass is as difficult to express live as it is to describe on paper. With no rhythmic slide rule to hand, I'll gladly cop out from explaining such a beautiful complexity any day and choose instead to point towards the example that drummer Molyneux offers us as he duets with the keys in N.T.P. How to describe a wonky drum beat, or whether they should be allowed at all, has been discussed regularly since Dilla, and while I gladly toss into the ring metaphors of an ellipse rolling steadily down a hill or someone hiccuping regularly mid-sentence, the sinister tones of N.T.P. make it more accurate to liken this wonkiness to the stride of a pimp at dark. A futuristic texture opens up gloaming. The air saturates easily with the entire horn section filtered in the studio to resemble synth tones that my music teacher professed should have no place in serious music. That music teacher was wrong, of course, and neither I nor Glowrogues need anything but their recording to defend filtering tomfoolery as their spongy synth horns continue to brighten over a muscular rhythm section that takes this EP as close to house music as it gets. Gloaming's solo section passes the baton to a robotically harmonized sax to screeching success that suggests the composition will be a hotbed for crowd-pleasing pyrotechnics at a live date near you. Loaded with a clip of inside jokes deeply familiar to jazz students and a spray of deeply lyrical inflections borrowed from electric guitar phrasing, the sax solo is riotous and makes spectacular use of the only solo slot given to Sam Healy on the recording. Mirroring the energized approach of Healy's alto sax, guitarist Brew also has a well-paced solo spot over Gloaming and opts to begin his moment at a whisper's volume that strongly hints that Glowrogues have road-tested this material prior to hitting the studio. As a closing slot, the tightness of the riffage at the end of this EP, along with the in-jokes hidden in the expressive solos, all point to a band who are friends in their spare time and are committed to pushing forward. No surprise then that the group's leader catapults us from a quacking synth horn break into a pumping sprint where each Glowrogue crosses the finish line together with no soul left behind. Glowrogues' eponymous debut has the electric jazz group's influences and intentions take a bow together in a way that shows an acute awareness of the now and an appetite for what can be done tomorrow. Sophistication is not easily snuck past us unnoticed, and so this recording should be proud to hold dual citizenship with the nations of those who want music they can scratch their head to and those of us who just want to dance.